everybody? This is Tech G back with another video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about fairness, transparency, and explainability as it relates to artificial intelligence. So let's get into it. All right. So AI is everywhere. It's helping doctors detect cancer, it's powering your social media feed, and it's unlocking your phone with Face ID, amongst a myriad of other things. But here's a question we all need to ask more often. Can we trust it? Because if AI is going to influence what we buy, how we work, who gets loans, or even who gets parole, then we better make sure it's being fair, open, and understandable. So, welcome to the world of ethical and responsible AI. So, in this video, we're going to dive into three critical principles that you must consider when evaluating AI systems, and that is fairness, transparency, and explainability. Now, these aren't just tech buzzwords, they're the foundation of building AI systems that are actually trustworthy, human centered, and socially responsible. So, let's unpack each one in plain language with real life examples, risks, and tips for making AI more ethical. All right, so why do these principles matter? Well, let's go ahead and play out a quick scenario. So imagine you're denied a job interview because an AI screening tool decided your resume wasn't good enough, or you're approved for a smaller credit limit than someone else with similar financials, or a facial recognition system mistakes you for someone else, leading to your arrest. Now, wouldn't you want to know why? You'd probably be asking stuff like, was the system fair and how it judged you? Is the process transparent or is it a black box? And can someone explain what went wrong? Now, these three questions, they get to the heart of fairness, transparency, and explainability. So let's explore each one in more detail, starting with fairness. Fairness in AI is all about making sure systems do not discriminate against individuals or groups based on factors like race, gender, age, or other protected characteristics. But here's the tricky part. AI learns from data, and if the data is biased, the AI can be biased itself. So here's a real life example of this. So a few years ago, Amazon built an AI recruiting tool that unintentionally discriminated against women. The system had been trained on resumes submitted over the past 10 years, and since most of those resumes came from men, the algorithm learned that male applicants were better. Now, what was the result? Well, it penalized resumes that included the word women in it and preferred candidates with more male associated experiences. Now, when it comes to that example, well, fairness was an absolute failure. So let's talk about some types of fairness issues with AI, and we're going to break down a few common problems. The first one is called historical bias, and this is when the data reflects past inequalities. So if an AI is trained on biased outcomes like hiring mostly white men, it can repeat them. You have what is called sample bias. And this is when the data doesn't represent the whole population. So, for example, an AI trained mostly on faces of light skinned people may struggle to recognize darker skinned faces. And you have what is called measurement bias. And the way we define success might itself be biased. So, if we define a quote unquote good employee only by sales numbers, we might ignore important traits like teamwork or creativity. So, how do you evaluate fairness? Well, you got to ask yourself, who benefits from the AI system? Who might be harmed? Was the training data diverse and representative? And were different demographic groups tested for equal outcomes? And one powerful way to measure fairness is to run fairness audits. This is where you're testing your model across different groups like race, gender, age, location, etc., to make sure it performs consistently. And sometimes it's not just about fixing the data, but it's about rethinking the entire goal of the system. All right, next let's talk about transparency. So, if fairness is about what decisions are made, then transparency is about how those decisions are made. And unfortunately, many AI systems today are known as black boxes, meaning their inner workings are not visible, even to the people who created them. Now, why does transparency matter? Well, let's go back to our earlier scenario to where you were denied a loan. If the process isn't transparent, then you don't know why you were denied, you can't challenge the decision, and regulators cannot hold the system accountable. And that's a big deal, especially in high stakes areas like healthcare, finance, criminal justice, or education. Now, let's quickly talk about different levels of transparency because not all systems need the same level of transparency. But generally speaking, you have two categories. You got what is called low stakes AI. And this could be something like a Netflix recommender. And basically, it offers some opacity and it might be acceptable. Then you have high stakes AI, and this could be something like medical diagnostic tools to where total transparency is critical. Now, transparency should include things like what data is being used, who trained the model, What decisions does the system make? What risks are known? And what are the limitations? And if users, regulators, or impacted individuals cannot answer these questions, then we've got a serious transparency problem. All right, next let's talk about explainability. So, you know what decision the AI made thanks to transparency, but can you understand why that decision was made? And that's where explainability comes in. This is the ability to explain how an AI model arrived at a specific outcome or decision in a way that's clear to a human being and not just a data scientist. Now, why does this matter? Well, imagine you're a doctor using an AI system to recommend cancer treatments. The AI suggests option A, but exactly why? Was it based on the patient's age, their lab results, their medical history, or something else entirely? So basically, you need to trust but verify. And that means you need a good explanation. If you can't explain it, then you can't justify it. And that's a no go in fields where lives are at stake. So when it comes to AI, you got two types of boxes. You got black box AI, and this is basically a complex model like a deep neural network that offers high performance, but they are hard to interpret. You have what is called a glass box AI, and these are simpler models like decision trees or linear regression that are easier to explain, even if they're not as powerful. Now, there's often a trade-off between accuracy and explainability, but for ethical AI, explainability is non-negotiable in many domains. All right, next, let's talk about some tools and practices for responsible AI. So now that we understand the why, let's talk about the how. So, how can developers, organizations, and even end users ensure that fairness, transparency, and explainability are baked into the AI systems they build or use? Well, here are a few key practices and tools. The first is called perform bias and fairness testing. So basically, don't just assume your model is fair. Test it. And you can use tools like IBM AI Fairness 360, Google's What If tool, and Microsoft Fair Learn. And these tools help identify whether your model is treating certain groups unfairly. You can also use model cards and data sheets. So just like nutrition labels that tell you what's in your food, model cards, they describe what's inside of your AI system. They include what the model was trained on, the intended use cases, and performance across demographic groups and known risks. An example of this is Google's AI model card, where it can help researchers share responsible usage information. Another thing that can help us out is to incorporate explainability tools. And these are now tools that are designed to peel back the layers of complex AI models and provide human understandable insights. So you have a tool called LIME, and that stands for Local Interpretable Model Agnostic Explanations. And this explains individual predictions. You have one that's called SHAP or SHAP, and this stands for Shapely Additive Explanations. And basically, this shows which features contributed most to a prediction. You have what is called Interpret ML, and this is Microsoft's toolkit for explainable machine learning. But basically, these tools help developers and end users make sense of why the AI decided what it did. And then you also want to include human oversight. So AI should assist human decision makers and not replace them entirely, especially in high risk scenarios. So doctors, they should always verify AI diagnosis. Judges, they should always double check risk assessments. And teachers, they should validate AI-based grading tools. And humans, essentially, they must stay in the loop to maintain accountability. And then you want to embrace ethical frameworks. So organizations are developing AI ethics guidelines to steer development. The EU's AI Act is mandates strict transparency and risk standards. You have the IEEE and OECD, where they offer global AI ethics principles. Then you got companies like Google, Microsoft, and IBM. They have their own internal ethics boards, though their effectiveness kind of varies. But the key idea is this: ethics is not optional. It's a requirement for any AI system that touches human lives. Now, to evaluate an AI system's ethics, here are 10 questions that you should ask. Who built the system and for what purpose? What data was it used to train on? Is the data representative of all users? What groups might be harmed by the system? Can the system be audited? Are the decision-making criteria transparent? Can the system's behavior be explained? Is the system accountable to humans? What are the failure scenarios? And how can users contest or appeal AI decisions? Now, if an AI system cannot answer those questions or its creators refuse to answer those questions, then that's a red flag. So here's the thing. Just because we can build something with AI doesn't mean that we should. AI is powerful, it's fast, it's scalable. But if it's not fair, transparent, or explainable, it's not responsible. We're not just building technology, we're shaping society. The systems we design today will impact lives tomorrow. So, whether you're a developer, a policymaker, a student, or a concerned citizen, you play a role in shaping the future of AI. So, ask the hard questions, demand fairness, insist on transparency, and never settle for a black box. Now that we've gone through all of that, let's do some check on learning. So, our first question is, which of the following best describes fairness in AI systems? Is it ensuring an AI system performs well on benchmark data sets? Is it making sure AI systems always give the same output for every input? Is it reducing or eliminating bias so that outcomes are equitable across different demographic groups? Or is it preventing unauthorized access to AI models and data? And the correct answer is reducing or eliminating bias so that outcomes are equitable across different demographic groups. So, fairness in AI refers to minimizing bias and ensuring that the system does not discriminate against individuals or groups based on sensitive attributes like race, gender, or age. It's about equitable treatment, not just performance metrics. Next question. What does transparency in an AI system most directly refer to? Is it the ability of AI systems to operate without human intervention? Is it clearly documenting how the AI model was trained and how decisions are made? Is it using open source algorithms only? Or is it allowing all users to modify the AI's source code? And the correct answer is it is clearly documenting how the AI model was trained and how decisions are made. So, transparency means providing insight into how the AI system was built, how it works, what data it uses, and how it makes decisions. This helps build trust and allows for proper evaluation and accountability. And our final question, which scenario demonstrates a lack of explainability in an AI system? Is it a model trained on biased data gives unequal predictions for different users? Is it a chatbot fails to answer a question due to limited training? Is it a loan approval AI rejects an application but cannot provide a human understandable reason? Or is it an AI tool is deployed without user consent? And the correct answer is a loan approval AI rejects an application but cannot provide a human understandable reason. So, explainability means that a human can understand why an AI system made a certain decision. If an AI system makes important decisions like loan approvals without a clear rationale, then it lacks explainability, which undermines user trust and accountability.